Welcome, Professor Veena.
Hello. Hello. How are you?
I'm doing great, ma'am. I saw your work and I was really very impressed.
Oh, thank
And
you.
it's really glad to have you today. And,
Hello, we are on live, okay? So just to take care.
Okay,
Of
start.
course.
Perfect. So we start then when we have everybody.
I thought we will start after 5 minutes because that's 12:30. So we can just wait for 5 minutes for people to join.
Sure. Do you, should I put this YouTube live somewhere? The link?
If you want to,
Some people can be, it's easy then. So let me, you have sent a link, right? I can do that link.
but I have sent a Zoom link to all GSFN members.
Right, but I just want YouTube, some people might not have Zoom, they could go to YouTube straight away.
Sure, you can do that.
Hello, Dr. Renuka.
Hello, how are you?
You see here behind me, this is what I'm doing right now. So loading the truck. So I will try to be with you, but please apologize for not being so nice as usually, let's say.
Not to worry, work is first.
It's true, it's a hard work, so it's really hard work. And unfortunately, we have a delay of the truck, so we have to manage it.
Okay, carry on.
But I will put it here, and so that the people can watch.
Yeah,
What does it mean, Industry 5.0?
sure.
Sorry, ma'am. So YouTube link, how do I get that? Could you send me some?
I will share with you.
Yeah. Michael, if you can mute yourself, I think that would be better.
Yeah, I will. Just a moment.
Yeah. Renuka, ma'am, I didn't get YouTube. Have you sent the YouTube?
Yes, I've sent you on in the chat. Okay, I'm going to start now. So hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you have joined us today. So today we are celebrating World Environment Day, 5th June. It is celebrated annually. I'm Dr. Renuka Thakur, founder of Global Sustainable Futures Progress Through Partnership Network. And I'm highly honored to host many speakers and you today to celebrate this World Environmental Day. Today's Zoom account is supported by University of Central Lancashire, Preston, UK, UCLan. So I'm grateful to them too. And we will be recording this session and it is live on Zoom, YouTube. And the YouTube link is here in the chat. I can put it again. So if you want to share with your friends, then please do. So World Environmental Day is celebrated annually, and it is all about talking about the action and encouraging to take action to protect our environment. And it is protected, like it is supported by many, many organizations, even known NGOs, government and businesses, all of them, they support this day. So it is very important that we also understand what it is about and what are our beliefs and how we can contribute to it. Today, we have partnered with 3R Zero Waste. The founder Shiv Rao Chala is here, and we have partnered with him to provide you this event, and we will be talking about, of course, the campaign that is for this year, Beat Pollution, Plastic Pollution. So let me introduce you our founder or partner for this event, Shiv Rao. He has spread awareness to 750,000 citizens around the world. And he has sustained this startup pressure for 3 years, and he's growing exponentially. His growth level was 4 times last year, and it is accepted to be 12 times this year. He has worked in 12 countries and traveled 50 plus countries. So I'm honored to invite Shiv Rao Chala to also tell something about him and say hello to the audience.
Thank you, Dr. Renuka. So I have a very pet 90-second introduction when I meet anybody across the world. So I would repeat the same thing when I met Michael, when I met Dr. Renuka and all the other members of the community. So my name is Shiv Rao. I'm born and brought up in Calcutta. I'm a student of St. Xavier's. Post that, I moved to Hyderabad, where I did my BTech in computer science. I joined a company called BHEL in New Delhi in my first career. So worked with them for 7 years. And I was always having a dream to fly abroad. And I got my first international job in Nigeria, where I used to work for ExxonMobil projects. So thereafter, my career was like a roller coaster. Every 2 years, I was in a different country and a different project across the world. So worked in almost 12 countries. mainly into oil and gas, mining, and infrastructure. 2020, I was working in Kuwait for one of the largest regasification of LNG project. And that's when the lockdown hit the world. I was sitting at my home and not knowing what to do with my life next couple of years. That's how I decided to work on sustainability and help India to get into a clean India movement. So that's the birth of 3R Zero Waste. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We are very honored to have you today. I would now welcome Professor Veena to introduce herself. I would also say that she is the internationally recognized material scientist, engineer, and inventor. She has launched the world's first e-waste microfactory trademark, and she is the director at ARC Industrial Transformation Research Hub. So welcome, Veena, and please introduce yourself and say hello to the participants.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Renuka, for the very warm welcome. And thanks to your collaborators, Shiv Rao and others for the opportunity to be here today and celebrate this very important World Environment Day. So the Smart Center at UNSW, which is Sustainable Materials Research and Technology, we're at the University of New South Wales, located in Sydney, Australia. And the work that we're doing is developing both the fundamental science as well as practical technological solutions, and then ultimately taking that out to commercialization. So that's the overall sort of premise around how waste and recycling and manufacturing can be really well aligned so that we can take care of some of the challenging questions around what to do with waste. If we can actually show, as we have been doing at SMART, that it can become a valuable raw material for manufacturing, then becomes part of the feedstock and production. So really enabling us to work with industry partners to basically bring about not only solutions that are good for the environment, but also good for the economy. And that's really what we do at the Smart Center at UNSW. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Veena. We are very, very honored to have you. You know, we will be learning today so much from you. So thank you for being with us. And now I would welcome Ullas Parlikar from Mumbai, India. And he is extending consultancy globally around the world on waste management, circular economy, and industrial symbiosis. And he has conceived, built and nurtured the concept of utilizing waste as resources in cement manufacturing as a large business. And he also drafts rules and guidelines related to heavy waste management and other waste management materials. And he is an invited member over there. And he has co-authored several books on waste management, written a chapter on low carbon technology roadmap for Indian cement industry, and so on. So welcome, Ullas. We would like to listen from you more about yourself and say hello to the participants.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Renuka. I'm Ullas Parlikar, basically a chemical engineer. I did my master's BTech from Osmania in Hyderabad and MTech from IIT Madras. I worked for 36 years in the corporate world in Hindustan Lever, Bombay Dyeing Group, and ACC Cement. And I have almost last 25 years, I have been working on waste management and utilizing waste as resources in manufacturing. I'm very actively pursuing the concept of industrial symbiosis, wherein waste of one industry or society can be utilized as a resource by someone else so that that waste does not get into the environment. And therefore, you know, we conserve the natural capital and we reduced the greenhouse gas emission and mitigate the climate change impacts. I've been doing consultancy after my retirement in different areas, including waste management, policy advocacy, circular economy, and utilization of waste. So thank you very much. I look forward to a great debate and interaction. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So now I will welcome Mukul Shireen from Gurgaon, India. He has the honor of first approved biopolymer MFR in India. And he has the largest vertical integrated bags and straw manufacturing in India. So he has pioneered on that, and completely self-sufficient person. So yes, welcome Mukul, and please introduce yourself to our participants.
Thank you, Dr. Renuka, for moderating this. So I would like to introduce myself and our organization. I'm Mukul Shireen. I'm Director of Business Development at Dr. Bio. The group was established in 2003, and we have 9 manufacturing plants in India. So we manufacture bioplastic polymers. So these are polymers from which, these are compostable polymers from which you can make variety of different, compostable products like bags, straws, cutlery, cups, etc. And as part of our forward integration in Hi-Tech Group in Dr. Bio, we have started making these products under the guidelines of CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board in India. And these products are widely used now with several brand owners like Coca-Cola, Parle, KFC, etc. So they have been widely using as a part of their sustainable move to ensure that they are plastic free. Plastic normally leaves its footprint for around 1,000 years in the environment, whereas the compostable products would compost off within 6 months. That's the primary advantage of using compostable products. They have much lesser carbon footprint for the environment. They are made from natural resources. So they are a byproduct of cornstarch, which is not edible grade cornstarch, and from that we make the biopolymers. So in fact, today morning at the front page of Hindustan Times was also a very endorsing document where our Prime Minister and also the Minister for Environment and Climate Change has endorsed the compostable products to be used widely in the single-use plastics application as an alternate. And I would be happy to take any questions on the technicalities of the product and how it is made and other facts about it over the next couple of hours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I will introduce the most ambitious person here around us, Michael Rada. He calls himself human, and he builds, his ambition is to build wasteless world for all by preventing waste to happen. He has created Industry 5.0, and he has delivered keynotes and universities in universities and colleges, about 500 plus keynotes, and he has created a global human network. And he wants this decade to spend on construction site of wasteless world. So welcome, Michael. Please tell about yourself more and say hello to participants.
Thank you for having me here, Renuka. It's a pleasure to speak with all of you. As you can see, I'm just now on the construction site of Wasteless World, loading full trucks of empty cable drums, which you can see here behind me. It's a hard work, but only when we all work together, we will be able to reach the wasteless world. And this is the most important part which we can do. So, you said almost everything about me, because I'm human, and that's the most important part. And for 10 years already, I'm on the construction site. So I do not want to disturb you with more speaking here. There's a noise in here, but I hope that I will be listening, and in a few minutes time, I will be in a car and will be able to deliver and become part of the discussion. So thank you very much. And I wish you all great event.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, all the speakers, to introduce yourself. And now we go on the panel discussion. I don't know whether we are going to win or lose. I'm not in that way, in that race, but we want to have a constructing dialogue today. And I will start with Shivrao. Shivrao, what do you mean by 3R zero waste?
Thank you, Dr. Renuka. And just we were making a presentation today, and the 3R, somebody was writing, in jumbled up. So I just corrected that, and I want to share that thing, that 3R is reduce, reuse, recycle. And I'm aware that today there are 7 Rs, 9 Rs, but this was the birth of Rs. So I kept my organization, the name was 3R. And zero waste is a journey. So I strongly say that zero waste cannot be achieved in a 1 day or a 2 day or a 1 year, in goal. It might take a couple of a journey. So zero waste is a journey where I want to take people along with me, where I help them to achieve their sustainable goals and become zero waste.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Ulhas, you mentioned that waste is resources. So please tell me what you mean by that.
Sorry for that. Yeah. Basically, what I mean is that every waste has got something which is useful to someone else. If there are 10 constituents, out of that, maybe 1 or 9 or 10, all 10 could be useful to someone else. So what is required to be done is we need to identify what is useful to someone. Can we separate it? Can we bring it to a quality acceptable to the other guy and then send it to someone else? See, traditionally, what we have been doing is we have been looking at waste as something which has to be just dumped. That's not the way. We have to look at what value is there in the waste, and we should be able to harness it. And for that, maybe you need to set up an infrastructure to do processing of that. And that's where I think it loses its characteristics as waste and it becomes a product. And that's how it comes into the marketplace. It becomes a resource. And thereby, it replaces some natural capital which otherwise is utilized by the other industry. So that's what I mean by the use of waste as resources.
Thank you very much. And I think before that, we have to prevent actually waste. And probably, Michael, if you are able to speak to us, please tell us how you can prevent waste. And it could be something where you can talk about plastic or any other material which you have thought of. So please tell me how we can then stop or preventing waste at first point. I think we have lost Michael. So we will go to, are you there, Michael? Can you hear us? Are you able to answer at the moment? No, okay. We will take you later. All right. So then let us then bring, let us bring Veena here, thinking of Veena, what do you mean by, like, are we having, what do you mean by your green manufacturing? Is it same as having waste as resources, or is it something else? Please tell us.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Renuka. So when we think about green manufacturing, it's very important to recognize the whole of systems approach. So the fact that waste comes in as a raw material, that raw material then becomes part of a manufacturing process with the very clear goal that we want to be able to minimize our dependency, for example, on coal and coke. So the kinds of examples that we have developed on green steel or green ceramics are to be able to, keep waste at a landfill so that you could be basically using waste resources like waste tires, for example, in the production of green steel. So now one might say, well, okay, how does that matter? It matters because one, it allows you to decarbonize, you reduce your dependency on coal and coke. But also on the other hand, we have shown that when you can actually bring in products that do contain important elements like hydrogen, that allows us to contribute in a positive manner to hydrogen as part of the feedstock. So when we think about resources, you don't just think about the physical form. Oh, it's a tire, therefore I have to use it as a tire. But what we are really talking about is that material undergoes transformation under different conditions and therefore liberates different kinds of molecules. So if you were to then use things like waste tires under certain steelmaking conditions, it liberates hydrogen molecules that then can be utilized instead of coal and coke. So the broader picture around green manufacturing is very multifaceted, because we've got to not only think about reducing waste and keeping that out of landfill, but the other important point is if you're talking about manufacturing products, whether it is steel or ceramics or plastics, in all of these cases, the quality of the end product that you are manufacturing has to be competitive. So again, the thinking around how competitive a product is will of course come down to both feedstock, raw materials, as well as the manufacturing process. So the example of things like green ceramics that we have recently commercialized, that is about bringing in waste glass and waste textiles, and that hybrid nature of the feedstock materials allows us to take this complex input and create high quality ceramics from that. So all of these are therefore allowing us to replace some of the more traditional ways in which we would have seen our manufacturing technologies to look like. So it's challenging the notion overall green manufacturing is to be able to consider both input raw materials, which you can get them from waste, but also importantly, manufacturing processes that then allow us to decarbonize. So we therefore reduce our carbon footprint and equally importantly, create high performance value-added products like our green ceramics go into making floor tiles, walling applications. So in all of these cases, it's about ultimately creating a functional product from resources that come from waste. So that's overall green manufacturing, that you're actually delivering a better outcome for the environment as well as for the economy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Of course, I think it might be a complex scenario or notion for people to grasp, but you are already an expert and I think you have explained well. So thank you very much. So I would like to bring Ullas again here, that when we have this focus on plastic, and I know that plastic is recyclable, it is known as a of course, it is a highly debated material. So please explain us what is the advantage and disadvantages of plastic?
I think plastic, it's a wonderful material, if you ask. There has been no invention of the material like plastics. You name it, and plastics have got application for it. Whether it is, making body parts which replace, some of the internal parts of the body, to the spacecraft where, you prepare the sheath of the fiber reinforced plastics so that, it comes back very, very safe when it enters through the Earth's atmosphere. You have variety of application. Every day we use many, many plastic materials. Absolutely no doubt of that, whether it is construction, whether it is household, whether it is packaging, you name it, everywhere the plastic is there. So I don't think there's anything wrong with plastics. It has got long life, it is durable, it is corrosion resistance. There are nanoplastics which are coming up, which are creating a lot of opportunities to do something wonderful. However, the problem comes when it has to be disposed because of its use is over. For example, a bucket, and that bucket is cracked, and that bucket has to be thrown. Then we have a problem what to do with it. And that is where I think options for sustainable management have to come in place. Whenever the use is over, shampoo. I mean, the shampoo comes in a bottle. Bottle is extreme. I mean, it retains the flavor, the fragrance, the feel, everything inside. But when the shampoo is over, the bottle is useless. It does not have any value and it gets thrown. The carry bags, you name anything, you have used until it is used. Once its use is over, it becomes a problem area. So I don't think plastic per se is just to say disadvantageous. It is disadvantageous only when its use is over. And I think that is where a lot of innovation has to happen. How can we, make use of the plastics? How can we recycle the plastics? How can we maybe bring innovations through which, we can ensure that the cycle continues and we don't touch the natural capital at all. So I think I would like to stop there saying, the advantages of the plastics. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laz. You have made a very important point that when something does not have a value, then it is useless. And that's where all the waste is created. And it also depends, therefore, on the mindset and the decision making of our people like us, that what we should consider as useless or valueless. So thank you for that. And I will now turn to Michael because I can see he's in his car and he can answer our question. So yes, Michael, please advise us how we can prevent any waste. So especially like if we are talking about plastic waste or any food or crop waste, how we can prevent that, please.
Thank you for about the utilization of the existing resources. We do not concentrate on one plastic only, but you mentioned.
Michael, your internet is very low. You are cutting off, sorry.
Is it better now?
Little better, if you can repeat, please.
Okay, so I just said that it is important to understand that we have the existing resources. And the existing resources can be plastic, can be food, can be a lot of different things. And the waste prevention is all the time the same. We just do not if you look at the legislation, it's a moment when you would like to breathe or you place a device or a product in a garbage. So if you do not do it as a product or as a solution, we can reduce the volumes of waste. So, and I'm not sure if the connection is good or not. That's my answer.
Michael, I'm sorry we can't hear you clearly, but we will now go to Mukul. Mukul, because you have some alternatives than plastic, compostable packaging. So please tell us how compostable packaging is going to help the environment.
So basically, if we look at the traditional plastics that we were using, or a lot of countries are still using. By the way, there are around 79 countries globally who banned single-use plastics. Now, these plastics remain in the environment for more than 1,000 years. And what happens is under the sunlight and also landfill, they turn to microplastics. And the microplastics from these traditional plastics are not only getting left in the environment in very small proportions or small sizes, but they are now entering the bloodstreams of human bodies through, the food that we eat, for example, fish or, poultry, etc. And, it's also one of the biggest reasons for, it's very carcinogenic. And now with the use of compostable plastics, The advantage being that since it comes from the environment, it goes back to the environment in a very natural way of composting or degradation. The source is a biomaterial. The sources are bio-based products, and hence, it goes back to the environment in a very sustainable way. There are several testings done on compostable plastics, where it has also been found that it is safe in the landfill where there are earthworms, and earthworms can even eat on it. And it's also been tested for compostability under the soil, and also in the backyard conditions at 20 degrees or 30 degrees Celsius. And obviously it leaves no residue, and it's a food source for the worms that are there in the environment, and it goes back to the environment in a very safe way. So it was a very expensive technology or very expensive products until a couple of years ago. But with the innovation that we have brought, almost around 70 to 80% of the product is made from Indian resources or indigenous material. And it's just fantastic the way we've been as an organization playing to bring the Make in India and Atmanirbhar program to the country in a very successful way.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing the alternatives with us. And of course, we can also look at sustainable management of plastic waste, which I think Ullas has this expertise. So please, Ullas, please continue about when you were last time also mentioning about the management. So what are the sustainable options for management of plastic waste?
What we mean by sustainable is that it should get utilized, gainfully utilized, and also it should not cause any harm to the environment. And further, it should be affordable. So which means it should bring it should make economic sense, it should be environmentally friendly, and it should be workable. Now we talked about the single-use plastics. Now, single-use plastics are not recyclable in the true sense, but it has still got some value in that. And this value is, maybe we can utilize it as a fuel, which is feasible in cement plants, in waste to energy, in the steel plants, in many of the resource-intensive industries. There are also opportunities to utilize the same materials to make it into very interesting products. In India, I have seen several clusters where value-added products are made out of the single-use plastics. If you go to a place called Dhoraji, which is in Rajkot in Gujarat, there are about 400 industries who produce products out of single-use plastics or torn or contaminated plastics, and these products are exported out. So rather than these plastics getting into the soil or in the dumps or in the water bodies and causing a big environmental hazard, these material, they find an application where they get converted as a recycled material into something which is very, very useful. You can also recycle the recyclable materials. And there are, you can recycle from one shape and one type to another, or you can make bottle to bottle, bumper to bumper kind of a conversion. Each has got its own advantage. And these are all sustainable options, but it requires a great deal of effort, great deal of innovation, great deal of science, and also discipline, I would say, waste management discipline. And that is where there are many industries today who are in a position to convert the plastic waste in a sustainable manner into useful products. Few years back, all the Bisleri or the water bottles used to be dumped around on the roadsides and the railway tracks and in the bus stands. But today you don't see because the innovation has happened. There is a technology which is workable, viable, which converts the PET res into fibers. These fibers are utilized in various different applications, and therefore you don't see the bottles at all. Similarly, you don't see a lot of recyclable plastics like the rigid plastics. There has been a cause of concern on the thin plastics. As I said, they are all the single-use plastics, but even there the applications are coming. So what I'm trying to say is, towards circular economy, sustainable use or sustainable options for their management becomes a very, very critical consideration, and a lot is happening. And in days to come, we might see substantial development in this area. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I will bring now Shivrao here because he has a plenty of experience in this recycling. So please tell us something, what is going on and maybe future of recycling and waste management of plastic industry.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Renuka. So being 3 years old startup in this industry, we have got quite a good market share in the business. And we claim to be number 2 in the northern part of India after a company which is 20 years old. So today, by seeing the core magnitude of volumes we are generating, and my volumes are close to 20 metric ton per month, what I manage today. And there again, more than 7 types of plastic, which comes to us mainly in terms of computer waste. So I am a bit doubtful between the two thoughts. One is plastic is good or plastic is bad. As Professor Ulhas has mentioned, that if plastic is not bad, the people's habits, people's way of managing is bad. So I do agree with that part, as plastic is being good. At the same time, since maybe today 20% people are able to segregate the waste, so 80% people still are not in that habit. And my organization, we work very, very hard. Today, again, I was there in one of the seminars where we spread awareness to 750,000 people across the world. But that is just peanuts in terms of our volumes, or how many people we have created. So I also see the good potential of products of compostable, biodegradable products. And I think definitely the market share would be coming up quite significantly in the couple of years, because this is just the beginning of compostable and the biodegradable products. And there's so much, as Sir Ulhas said, that the application has been so much diverse in various forms of materialistic. So I firmly believe that I work with both the hands. Let us solve the problem in all the ways it's possible. Let us use plastic where we have to use and recycle it 100% goal, so we can say zero waste. And at the same time, start our habits and see how we can promote compostable products so that these can become more economical. If that is not done, then people will not use it and the industry will not grow. So I would highly recommend that compostable is a solution, and we should try it out. We should embrace it and make it a new industry for the whole Mother Earth. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. A very significant point, that we should not stick to just one idea or one action. There are plenty of actions to be taken around the world, depending on our context, depending on the industry, depending on the sector, and depending on our culture and many other things. And certainly, while we are having technology helping us with recycling and green manufacturing and so on, we also need to understand how our behavior can impact and how ready we are to diffuse those technologies along with our informed decision making. So thank you for making such a good point. I would also welcome Veena to talk about the impacts of green manufacturing, so that is on the top of this recycling and bio composting.
Thanks very much, Dr. Renuka. When we're talking about manufacturing different kinds of products for which you need high performance, there is room in society for all kinds of engineering products. So we might on one end of the spectrum talk about, what is got to be compostable. But on the other hand, we might say, well, what goes into making our electronic devices? What goes into making cars? What goes into making all kinds of high performance polymers? But by nature, if these are high performance feedstock materials, then you should technically be able to put them back into remanufacturing over and over again. But how do you achieve that? Means that we've got to innovate when it comes to different kinds of manufactured products. And so in that sense, when you ask what is actually possible in the broader ecosystem, keeping in mind that manufacturing technologies are also advancing, I want to use a particular example of where we can manufacture and to show you some of the examples of our microfactories. If I may indulge and hold up this plastic filament that we have produced. These plastic filaments are made from 100% waste plastics. The whole point of showing this is that this becomes a feedstock for 3D printing. Now, you have the option to be able to say, okay, well, if I'm using 3D printing as my manufacturing technology, I can either use plastic filaments that are made from 100% plastics waste, or I can go and buy more and more new plastics. So the obvious answer when we're talking about zero waste is to be able to say, as much as possible, we need to bring in some of these high quality and high performance products to be able to convert them into useful feedstock and raw materials. So this example of what we've done with our plastic microfactory and the eco-filaments that we are producing, they are high performance. That means they are fit for purpose and they can go right back into 3D printing so that you can use that for remanufacturing. So imagine if you could actually take a lot of that waste plastics and keep feeding them back into different kinds of solutions. So then one might say, well, what is really possible? Let me again hold up an example of a project that we have delivered right here in Australia. This is an example of a clamp product. This clamp product is made from that plastic filament. That, of course, then means that you produce high quality and high performance products. So all of these are examples of what we have commercialized. So when people say, well, but that's not recyclable or that doesn't work, I would actually beg to differ, because it means that we haven't quite done a good enough job in recognizing that our manufacturing solutions have to be designed and developed further to be fit for purpose. And the kinds of product solutions and opportunities we have, there's a whole spectrum of market opportunities. And I think this is where we can actually create solutions that make sense from an environmental point of view, but also from an economic point of view. So that back to that point around what is indeed possible and feasible, I thought I might, if it's all right with you, Dr. Renuka, just to be able to show what is possible for just one moment to demonstrate what we're actually doing here. I think you can probably see the 3D printer that's playing over there on the screen. That video is really just showing that we've taken that plastic filament, used that as part of the feedstock. And of course, the benefit is that you can then allow a whole range of different kinds of product manufacturing solutions to take place. So I just wanted to play that for one moment. And of course, there's a lot of information on Smart Centre's website. People can go in and have a look. So those kinds of product solutions means that you're linking very much that entire ecosystem. And of course, those kinds of materials that can't be recycled, can't be manufactured and remanufactured, we have to seriously think whether some of those materials should be made in the first place. You should be able to either compost it, you should be able to recycle, you should be able to remanufacture, so that you don't leave behind any of the problematic plastics in our environment. We've heard someone on the panel just talk about creation of microplastics and nanoplastics. There's obviously a lot of literature and work that has been reported that talks about some of the challenges, but therefore we need to be mindful that yes, there are some that pose enormous challenges to our environment. But on the other hand, if you do the right thing in terms of having a system that allows you to collect, to recycle, to remanufacture, make high quality products, that's really the way you can achieve a lot of meaningful outcomes. I don't know if people realize that even in some of the synthetic materials, like our garments, our textiles, we've got plastics, right? Because when we talk about our polyesters and nylons and all of this, these are plastic materials. So we've got technologies where we take a lot of our waste textiles and put that back into green ceramics. So let me hold up an example here. Here's an example of a green ceramic tile that blue and other feedstock materials in there comes from waste textiles. So why does that matter? Again, because you're keeping that waste away from landfill, putting it back into production, you're creating new jobs, and you're creating a win-win outcome, both social benefits as well as environmental benefits that go together. And we've commercialized these and set these up right here in Australia in many of our regional towns. So I just wanted to reflect on the fact that there are ways in which you can achieve these kinds of positive outcomes for our environment.
Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your interesting story and very successful one. So yes, I understand that we have plenty of ideas and plenty of things, like young people have a lot of ideas about this because they want to do something around this area and contribute their participation in this environment and also sustainability. And it also makes sense for new business ideas. Then I would welcome Mukul to share something about this, because he has been successful in this area. How do you initiate and conceptualize these product ideas or division? Maybe talk about your division and people can get an idea.
Mr. Mukul, are you there?
Yeah, I can see him there, but maybe he's having problem in connecting with us.
Yes, hi.
Oh, yeah, wonderful. Thank you.
Sorry, can you please repeat the question once again?
Okay, I was saying that you have been in this industry and you have a successful business now. Can you share how you initiate and conceptualize this product division?
Yeah, sure. So, we've been as a group, we've been into manufacturing of plastic products for the last 40 years. And what we realized was that, the whole world, especially during COVID and even before COVID, our European customers, they had started looking for more sustainable ways, because with the climate change that we are seeing, and in the early 2010s, where every country started taking the pledge to remove single-use plastics. So we, as an organization, spent very heavily on R&D, and we've almost got around 18 patents and patent pending in our organization. And we thought that being a pioneer in the polymer industry, we should put a lot of resources on developing something sustainable. So it took us good 3 years of R&D research for our team to crack the molecule and the compound to make this kind of product technology, where not only not only we have preserved it for our own use, but also we are doing technology licenses with different partners throughout the world. And that was how we initiated the biopolymer division in our company.
Thank you, Mukul, for sharing your experience. But of course, everyone does not have a background like you, being successful in one industry and knowing the business techs. But there are plenty of young people trying to get into some sort of businesses. So maybe I will ask, and they turn up to be startups. So I will ask this startup here, Shiv Rao, to share his, views on what are the challenges in India for a sustainability startup.
Yes, Dr. Renuka, thank you. So specifically, if we see the startup arena, we see a lot of unicorns coming up with the tech fields, and but suddenly we saw a big plunge in the investors for the tech field, because there was like a showcase of numbers, but actually it was like a watermelon where it's outside it is green, but inside it was red, and they are bursting up. So there is one reason where funding has become an issue for investors, and that is how where it was imagined that the next decade would be for the sustainable startups who would come into this, and there are expected to be 100 plus unicorns from the sustainability sector in the next decade. But unfortunately, when I see in the Indian perspective, we see only one company which has come up to being a startup, and they're working for the last 8 to 10 years, and a huge trend, and they've got a success recently. But nevertheless, because a sustainability startup, it needs a huge capital investment, and we lack the government policies. I see China has done quite good. US and other Western worlds have supported startups specifically on the climate sector. But in India's perspective, we have seen a big showcase that you would invest in climate change. I was recently attended a seminar of Net Zero, where one of the advisors, the top advisors of TERI, which is a international organization who works about energy and resource management in India. I was told for India to achieve net zero by 2050, India would have to spend 111 T4 trillion US dollars as per the TERI Markle model they have submitted to Government of India. Today, we are talking about $5 trillion GDP of India. And you can imagine if India has to spend 111 trillion, how much potential of sustainable startups is available in India. And I was surprised, even that model, the question I raised in that seminar, my question was specifically, one of the major carbon footprint producers was not even considered in that particular model. So you can imagine the amount of investment would be required, not only from India, from all over the world. And we see lack of funding, because the startup culture is that you have to showcase that you are a revenue generating model, you are a profit making model, and only then you will get investment. Whereas even impact funding agencies in India are very, very few, and they have been investing in specifically on electric vehicles, and very few are coming in terms of biomethanation projects, very, very rarely. So challenges in terms of funding, because the technology is not a proven technology. We are all trying different technologies. But for me, I'm not trying technology. I'm trying to change people mindset towards waste. So I'm building a platform for rewarding citizens for sustainable gestures, which is called Karma Coins, wherein I would be incentivizing every action using artificial intelligence and incentivizing them using blockchain technology. So the world latest of the technologies would be used in this application. And it starts from the time you get up till the time you sleep. Every sustainable action you do I want to capture that without letting you know, provided it takes care of the data privacy and you agree, and the government of in whichever country agrees to that data privacy. But that is how today I see that we could say how is Indore number one, how is Gurgaon number two. The data is not available neither in India. I do stay in UK a couple of months of a year, but I see even that not available. So it is not shown how is Kingston number one, how many citizens are doing number one, what sector of people are doing good habits which could be multiplied with other people. That sort of data doesn't exist anywhere in the world today. So that's my dream project which I am working through, and I look forward for collaboration for most of you here and take it forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sharing the challenges and also your dream. Of course, that is so much important to you, and maybe it is also important to our future world. But here I have a concern with, and probably Ulhas will be able to help me here, that within the waste industry, though there are several of startups, as she mentioned, we are still having a lot of informal people working in this industry. So how do you think that this existing business practices of plastic waste from informal to a formal sector, how can we change this? I think that is a real important concern we should be having. Thank you.
Yes, of course. The industry, plastic industry, recycling industry is in a complete sort of a informal segment, informal sector. What we mean by informal is that they are not recognized entities. They do not have any recognition, no consents. There are no, accepted, I would say, compliance considerations for them, etc., etc. But they are very small players. They can set up, they rather set up a small facility, probably in a 10 by 10 room, and that becomes an industry. So, first thing that needs to be done is that they should be brought under the statutory provisions, which means that they should be recognized. They should be made to register in the respective, administrative processes. For that, if required, there should be some kind of incentive mechanism which should be given. So that actually brings them into the formal mode where they have a recognition, their database will be available, their production capacities would be known, what kind of investment has been done would be available, how many people are working would be known to everybody. So that is the advantage of being a formal kind of an environment, entity. The second thing is these small players, when the waste comes to them, they cannot process it to high quality material. What is required to produce a high quality plastic waste for recycled material? It should be clean. It should not have any foreign bodies. It should be as pure a polymer as possible. That means the contamination has to be nil. If we are able to produce a product, a plastic material of that kind, then that material will be almost equal to the properties of a virgin resin. In the sense, what happens is if we are able to produce, if that entity is able to produce that kind of material, that material will fetch a very high price compared to what they are fetching today. If they are fetching, say, 30% or 40% of the virgin material price today, they can aspire to achieve 90% of the virgin material price in the market tomorrow. If that happens, there is a huge amount of monetary, money available in the entire supply chain, right from the production of the resin
up to the people who are collecting the waste. So everybody will get benefited in the process. But how do you produce that kind of an excellent material? They do not have efficient cleaning, washing, decontamination facility. They do not have efficient segregation facility to remove the contaminant, the other plastic contaminants. So best thing to do is set up a common facility for all of them together. So if there are, like I was telling, the Dholaji town where 400 industries are there, each one produces a very good material. But tomorrow, if they are able to produce excellent material, their life will be totally different. The contribution that they will make will be totally different. When we want under EPR, all the brands, all the producers to utilize 50% of their plastic requirement or 70% of their plastic requirements through recycled material, so much of recycled material must be prepared. If that preparation has to happen, the small sector, the informal sector, their produce has to be of that quality. So if we are able to set up a common treatment facility where the entire cleaning, decontamination, or removing all the dust and other specks which are there, and then also segregate them mechanically, electronically, with artificial intelligence, different types of plastics. You may also require to segregate color-wise, because the more you want to have recycling, better should be the correct color compatibility of that material with the virgin material. So we can set up the automatic machines to do that segregation. If this entire investment, if it is done in a PPP mode and incentivized for, let's say, 400 or 500 small industries, then these industries would first send this material to this PPP, common treatment facility, and a clean, properly segregated material will come out, which will go to the informal sector. If they have a registration with the required or appropriate authorities, they become formal one. So with that material, when they process into granules or recycle it, they will be able to produce much, much better product. So, and they can, out of the money, excess money, or the high price that they will get, they can share some of it for the cleaning and segregation purpose for which this common facility has been set up. So by doing this, we are going to achieve a lot. One, you are going to strengthen the economy of the recycling industry, the entire supply chain industry, bring up the value of the product so that it can be recycled as a replacement to the virgin material. It will also provide opportunity to deal with the environmental concerns that the informal sector today provides, so that everything happens in a clean, nice, and neat way. So I therefore feel that if we are able to achieve cluster-based treatment, common treatment facility operating on PPP mode, a lot can be done to improve the industry situation and also convert them from informal to formal sector. Professor Leena was talking about remanufacturing. So there are a lot of products, which can be just, reused if a standard is made. So if that standard says that if this product has to have dimensions like this, right, and if that becomes the standard as a BIS standard or any standard, then you should not. You don't need to produce a different shape, different size product. So the same product then can be utilized in the remanufacturing by reducing the utilization of energy and the materials. So standards are something which are very, very important in the recycling business. Today there are no standards. If I produce some granules, what standard do I compare with? You cannot compare with virgin because virgin is totally different. So you should be able to produce granules, the recycled materials standards, so that everybody, whoever is manufacturing those recycled material, that should come to that standard, get acceptability, and get into the marketplace. I think that is how a huge, sort of a push will be given to this informal economy to get into formal mode and then provide a large opportunity for the recycling industry to perform. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I completely agree about, standards which you mentioned. We haven't got even the standards of, chargers, where we use plenty of different chargers and plenty of different things depending on where you are and so on. And there's a huge cry about this, of course, and it has to be looked upon. Finally, I would like to invite Veena to talk about how these innovations, green smart manufacturing, would grow our economy sustainably.
Yeah, really, really good question, Dr. Renuka. I wanted to, again, if I may, just share with you this particular screen. It's really just to illustrate the point when you talk about how does, I guess, this create an opportunity to deliver economic benefits and to grow the economy. Let me use a real example. So our industry partner, who is an SME, has named Kandui Technologies, has been manufacturing these products now over a very short period of time, has ramped up capacity, taking some of these waste resources. So I was referring to earlier, waste textiles, waste glass, but putting that back into production. The reason why I put up this slide here is it actually goes to show that when we talk about high quality manufacturing of products, you look at an example, something like where you want to put that into flooring, floor tiles that you can see in this instance. We talk about standards, right? So the performance standards are important. If you make engineered products, then of course, in this instance, you are also having to deliver to the specifications of finished products. So the fact that we've now got an opportunity here to show that manufacturing capacity linked with making products of high standards, which then conform to the expectation, for example, mechanical properties, anti-slip properties, fire retardancy. There's a whole range of different standards that, of course, have to be met if you're going to produce high-performance products. So to get to the point where you've got to have economic benefits, and of course, what we've been talking about, some of the environmental solutions, you need to therefore have these kinds of technological advances. So I wanted to just share that with you, because I think it goes to show what can be achieved. And so with our industry partners, Kandui, these are some of the pictures coming out of our micro factories. And these kinds of micro factories are all about decentralization. So we decentralize them. We have basically different micro factories running in different locations. So the idea is that you can actually bring them part of the supply chain, and you create a win-win outcome for anybody. Not everyone can be and wants to be a manufacturer, but people can be part of that supply chain. So if you've got a manufacturing hub, you can imagine a hub and spokes model, pulling in different kinds of resources and feedstock. So again, I wanted to show you when we think about, how do you actually achieve economic benefits for a community, for a region, for a country, and overall for the planet. If we're talking about the benefits, then we have to be able to, as much as possible, have these opportunities in your local regional area where you can take locally available waste resources, bring them in as raw materials, manufacture those products that we all need, whether they are consumer products, whether they are industrial products. But the more we can show that we can recycle, reform, remanufacture, we'll be able to deliver those benefits, including economic benefits, to your question. So hopefully I've addressed some of those points around where we can achieve some of those outcomes. We, of course, have got a whole range of complex polymers that go into making other devices, electronics, and other components. So there are lots of different opportunities that we can explore as part of creating new business ventures. Thanks, Dr. Renuka.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I would now welcome anyone who has any questions. Please introduce yourself. And if anyone wants to share their views today, especially within this topic, like whether the plastic is good, bad, or anything else which you have experienced from a startup point of view, from a new industry point of view, or an innovation, please do. Please share your name and then share your experience. We welcome this for the rest of the time. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, Dr. Renuka. This is Rajiv. I am the founder for Karma Moksha Nirvana Foundation, and we are actually working on this waste management, specifically textile waste management. Basically, we are offering an alternative solution for one-time use plastic carry bags. We are manufacturing it. Basically, my personal experience is that what she specifically told that the funding is an issue for all the startups, and specifically in India, to execute anything. Maybe we are having good ideas to go about, but funding is an issue, big issue here. Apart from that, the psychology of common people and awareness regarding this adverse effect of plastic usage due to some socio-economic situation, yes, we can understand that it is not very feasible as of now for accepting those upcycling or recycling product. And moreover, this plastic carry bags are much cheaper than those products, though it is creating a havoc on the environment. But a country like India, it is little bit difficult to basically balance these two factors, this need and the economy. So if we can have some kind of light on that, how to address these. So many panelists are there who are from India, who know what I am talking about. So that would be a great takeaway from this particular seminar. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can anyone answer these questions? Or maybe can you repeat your, I think there were two questions in combination. So can you repeat very clearly what you want to know?
See, a country like India, where this economy always plays a bigger part while opting for any product or choosing any product, if given option, so many options. So if I have to compete my product, which is maybe, I'm just giving one example, a pricing of 150 rupees, and I'm competing with a plastic carry bag, which is only 22 paisa per carry bag. So I'm talking about the bigger aspect because I am also into creating the awareness. So whenever I am encountering this kind of questions, we are getting plastic bags for 22 paisa and you are asking for 150 rupees for a particular bag. So how can we go about it? So this is actually a practical problem, like developing countries like India.
Okay, thank you. I think it is a awareness program or a problem or advocacy problem of what the product entails. And probably I think from my side, I don't know about the economy, but I can say that we need to look at, or maybe you can compare the life cycle process and make people understand within all the parts of that processes, like within all processes, what is bad in terms of carbon emission, in terms of economy, in terms of environment, in terms of maybe labor, in many other things. You can emphasize the comparison of two products, and that might help. But I will definitely welcome other people's view.
Yeah, so I would like to chip in, Rajiv, and I would like to just inform that Rajiv and we are in the same cohort in IIM Visakhapatnam Social Enterprises cohort. So just to reiterate, Rajiv, you have compared 22 paisa of plastic with the 150 rupees of a product which you are building, right? And I can easily see that the product you are building is a sustainable product. The positives are it will live, the life cycle is, let us say, 3 years or 5 years, whatever the case may be, as the person uses. So this 22 rupee paisa plastic has, it is, you can't compare with that. So I can easily say that if I was it, I would definitely go for that 150 rupees, because I am a customer of that segment who would use a sustainable product, and I need that to be to work for me for the next 3 years or whatever is the case may be. So I think we have to target our customers, who are those people who want that 150 rupees and who are able to pay that. So there are, I would say, the middle class people of, again, you and my customers are almost same, where I like to aware and have given awareness to 750,000 people. It is just peanuts compared to our population. So that is one point. And the second point you raised about investment which is drying up. So to tell you, when I came back to India, I invested, I sold my house, one of the houses I had in Visakhapatnam, and then I invested in this startup. But till date, I raised this voice in most of my actions when I talk to the government, that if I have invested more than 1 crore rupee in my business, and till today, I have not received 1 rupee support, either from a private entity or from the government. So how would a very brilliant student from IIT, if his idea might be 100 times better than me, right? He has done an excellent innovation. He will have to follow the same path, because in India today, we don't have a system which is supporting startups at a level where we would like to have, because our population is big. If they have supported 20 startups, it is not enough. We want 2,000 startups to be supported. So yes, I would say, and I recommend this to startups, don't make your business plan based on that you will get a fund or this. You stick to your business plan based on where you see yourself, how much you have invested, and how you would take it. If you get a grant, it's a bonus. So that's my 2 cents.
Sherry, what would you
Yeah,
like
thanks.
to say?
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm Sherry Saxena here from Greater Faridabad. So I have a very small question. Like in Greater Faridabad, the dump yard is coming in one of the sector. So in which all the waste will be there. So it's still not there. So can we do something with the MCF to prevent that? And before going to the waste going to the dump yard, can it be segregated and something going to the recycle or something?
Thank you, Sherry. I think Shiv Rao can come here again.
Sorry, I didn't have to. I had to just skip. What is the question? Sorry, in short.
See, my question is, like in Greater Faridabad, the dump yard is coming up in one of the sectors. So my question is, because due to MCF funding or whatever, something can be done to prevent that? And before the waste going to the dump yard, can it be segregated and going straight to the recycle? Can some any NGO can come up and collect this waste itself before going to the dump yard?
Absolutely, ma'am. So you have raised a very prevalent, question. So see, the only way the dump yard would not come is that you citizens of Greater Faridabad will have to take an action and start segregating at source. And you don't need an NGO. You don't need a private limited company. Once you do that, you will have a queue of people, queue of startups few of SMEs who would say to work with you. Because as Sir said, Ullas Parikar said, that the quality of waste matters for a recyclers. So if you are segregating today in Manesar, I have 655 households who work with me, and doctors, people are in this seminar, who is one of them, who have worked with me. They give me segregated waste. So my quality of recyclable, whenever I start recycling, my quality of recyclable will be very, very high. So I would recommend you as a RWA entity, you talk to 10 RWAs and you start segregating at source. You will definitely, I am working very closely with Sarvodaya hospitals, and we are planning Ward 34 to be one of the cleanest wards in the Faridabad. We would be more than happy to extend our arm to your place.
Thank you, Shivrao. Please,
Can I?
Rehan.
Can I?
Pranam ma'am, I am a student of class 5th from Salwan Junior School, Narayana, Bihar. I have a question that India ranks 8th position in one of the most hazardous air pollution country in this world. Why only in India is there pollution growing, and while all other worlds are showing growth in the pollution quality, in the air quality?
Thank you. Are you not with anyone else there? Are you with your any parents there?
Yes, ma'am. I have my mother.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So yes, anyone from the panel would like to answer? Or should I?
Can I?
Yes, please.
This is a very good question. The hazard becomes a hazard if it is let out, if it is contained, if it is captured and sealed, then the hazard is not there. So, and how do you do that? You provide the covers, of safety around the hazard. For example, petrol. Petrol is a highly hazardous material. It can catch fire by a small spark. But when you transport, you make it into a safe vehicle with appropriate gadgets, appropriate measures, etc. So then, it is not a cause of concern at all. Similarly, if you burn plastics in open, and you will have all the toxic gases coming out of that. Even if you burn anything else for that matter in open, you will have toxic gases. So also smoking, by the way. So the question is, if we are able to contain these particular hazards in an appropriate manner, then there's no cause of concern. And we should try to find appropriate covers, sheets, which will ensure that the hazard does not come out in open and cause problem to the society.
Thank you, sir, for clearing my doubt.
Thank you, Laz. And
I was just going to mention, Dr. Renuka, if I might, a word
yes,
of encouragement to the young student. I wanted to say thank you for your interest and really for being such an awesome and incredibly inspiring young person yourself. So keep up the amazing work, and really so nice to see your interest, for the environment and your question on air quality. Yeah, really good to see. So yeah, we're really inspired by seeing more and more young people taking so much interest in the environment. So thank you for your passion.
thank you, Veena. Thank you. And hello, what is your name, Rehan?
My full A. Rehan is only my name.
Okay, A. Rehan. So A. Rehan, the air pollution is created by factories, cars, and other things that are polluted by the emission coming out of fossil fuels, and as you know that probably, and that's why your question is there. We have a lot of vehicles, and especially, I suppose you are living in Delhi, is it right? Where are you living?
Yes, ma'am. I live in Delhi.
Yeah, so it is a busy area, lot of people, lot of cars, and so on. So probably something can help us is to reduce car emissions, especially as Ullas mentioned, that emission coming out of any companies or factories can be treated there and not allowed to get into the air. So that is one thing by which industry can help us, and they might be helping a bit. But with other things like car, especially us as a people using car every day, we need to take care that we can drive as less as possible. So if you are going to shops or schools and they are in a good distance where you can walk or cycle, then probably that is a better way to commute rather than using cars. And probably within those families and wherever you are going for parties and so on, have those things in nearby areas where you can walk. This can help your health, and this can also reduce your air pollution. So that is the easiest way where you can contribute at the moment and your family can do. So thank you for asking such question. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for clearing my doubt and telling some tips for environment sustainability.
Thank you.
I just want to
Sahiti.
I just want to chip in. I think Rehan is staying in Faridabad, just NCR of Delhi. So I do work very closely there, and most of the industries in that area, they are highly polluting. Like from my area, most of the export houses send their material to be printed in Faridabad. So all the printing industry, where there's a lot of chemicals being disposed and they don't have a proper ETP facilities. That is one case. And then a lot of diesel generators, which are air polluting. So in my application, where ma'am also said that the mode of transportation, suppose in your house, Rehan, you might have two cars, right? Your mom is going in one car and your father is going in one car. So what we have tried to do in our application is, the more you do public transport, you get the maximum times every day. So every day my app will be sure you go in a public transport, get more points. You go in a petrol or diesel car, you will get negative points. You get in an EV car, you get positive points. So the way you use your transportation will help you decarbonize your carbon footprint. These are the few things which you also do, friends do, and go in a school bus. Don't go with your parent individual, they're going and dropping you. You will be a little bit hassle, but go in a school bus. So that can be.
Thank you, sir, for
Thank you very
explaining.
much. Yeah, thank you very much. Can I have Sahiti, and this would be the last question because we need to close very soon now. Sahiti, thank you.
Hi, everybody. Happy World Environment Day first. And thank you for arranging this session. So I have few questions. The first one is, so everybody like Shivrao sir, Ullas ji sir, they've been mentioning that for the plastic to be recycled, to be efficiently recycled, it has to be free of oils, food waste, etc. Right? So when we are handing it over to the municipal worker, like the dry waste from the house, then we can clean it up, right? We clean it up and then hand it over. But what about the dry waste that's being collected in public spaces like bus stops, cinema theaters, or anything outside where you really don't have the option to wash it clean, free of oils, right? So everybody's been like, suppose I eat a pizza or a chips packet or anything, thumbs up bottle, so they're not clean now, right? So I'm putting it in recycle bin. Does that mean all of them are not being recycled efficiently? Like if it's not cleaned, it's not being recycled efficiently, because many people have been mentioning that we don't have the right infrastructure to wash it and then recycle it. So what is the current situation? I just want to get a better understanding of the bins that were provided by the municipal corporations in public spaces.
Thank you. Maybe
Yeah.
Ullas and Shivrao can maybe talk to you later. But I suppose, like for UK and wherever I think they are, we have to be vigilant. Mainly about how we are disposing. We should not put any liquid. Of course, like a little bit of drop of liquid is okay because you cannot go and wash that. But you should not put half a bottle of liquid into your bottle and dispose that bottle into the recycling. That is the easiest way to understand that even with the spare of food, that is okay, but not the half of the something like a full teaspoon or more than that teaspoon food in a container. So that is what we need to understand, that we have to make as less as contamination or no contamination as possible. And therefore I will stop here now. And I think we need to just close the meeting. It is 2 o'clock. So thank you very much, all of you, for your contribution here. Thank you, speakers, and thank you, attendees. Thank you very much.